Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nic unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
G'day.
Well, that was bright and cheery. Hello, Warren. We're back with another daily TradieRonaCast.
Happy Thursday.
Is it happy for everyone, though?
No, but I want it to be.
I would very much like everybody to find a little bit of joy in today.
I'm
Maybe
wishing
that's the
everybody
challenge.
a happy Thursday. And it doesn't have to mean that the whole day is happy, Coxie. It just...
No.
Maybe you saw a kitten and you smiled.
Yep. Or maybe the sun shone for a minute. I really struggled.
Maybe someone dropped some shit on your front lawn.
Oh,
Your garden.
so happened to me. And that is actually a really thoughtful gift. And people now don't have a clue. I walked out of my fence yesterday whilst talking to Warwick on Voxer, and there were these 3 or 4 random bags of I don't know what. And they were all tied up, and I was actually terrified. I thought it was a horse's head for a minute or two, and then realised it wasn't my bed. So the first thing I did was panic and think, well, who have I managed to piss off now?
Brisbane Mafia, Coxie.
Yeah, I really thought I was done for. They were going to explode in my face. So I literally screamed for my husband, managed to get my finger off Voxer in the short term. And what actually it was is our very kind neighbour had dropped over 4 bags of horse poo, ready for my beautiful roses, which is such a thoughtful gift.
Either that or someone really dislikes you. And that instead of putting the dog poo in your letterbox, they've dropped 4 bags of horse shit on your front yard.
Yeah, well, at least they bagged it up. I haven't had... Well, wouldn't you throw it at the house? I suppose you could put it in the letterbox. I did have an egg thrown at the house not that long ago. It was
I've
pretty
had
funny.
that done too.
Well, we have full CCTV, so we know who it is, which makes me giggle even harder.
Oh, no.
You can't miss our cameras, but, whatever.
Oh, dear. Did you take them back some empty egg cartons?
I didn't. It's just a couple of kids that live around the corner, and we're obviously getting their thrills whilst Mum and Dad were asleep.
Anyway, speaking of shit on your lawn.
Shit on your lawn.
There is a lot of shit on people's plates at the moment. And this is probably going to be a mildly explicit episode based on the use of the word shit so far. So despite wishing you a happy Thursday, I'm guessing that there's a lot of people, particularly in Victoria, and any of the hotspots actually, of which there is sadly a growing number, thanks to some interesting choices by some interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of shit on your plate, potentially. So Coxie and I wanted to talk about something that we're both passionate about, but to be honest, we probably don't talk about it much, and we could definitely talk about it more, and it's not poo.
No.
It's our... What can we call it other than our mental health? It sort of conjures up potentially negative or limiting or stereotypical ideas about what that means, Coxie.
I really like the term well-being.
Oh, yeah?
Our well-being.
Yep.
Our being
well-being.
of well.
Being well. So I have had some stuff going on personally lately.
Just a little bit.
Which means that I've been relearning some lessons around my well-being and how to maintain my well-being, Nicole. The great grey shark is circling around the issue. G'day, Tom. So I'm going to share an analogy with our listeners. Would you like me to do that, Coxie?
Please, it's what you do best, actually.
So I was chatting with my lovely wife this morning, actually, about my well-being and what I feel like is going on for me. And I think a lot of us probably do this. We have all this stuff. We've got all this stuff flowing downstream, and rather than let it run through our lives all the time, we build a bit of a wall. We build a dam wall, and it holds it back. so we can get on with our life. We don't have this river rushing over us all the time with emotion and stress and pressure and all the shit that goes on in life. But the problem is you build a dam wall and the dam wall backs it all up, and you end up with this massive lake of shit. And the wall can only hold it so long. And I think many of you listening to this have probably experienced the overflow at times where there's a flood of emotion. We literally use that language to describe it, a flood of emotion, or we're overwhelmed with all the stuff going on in our lives or our business. And I think it's really important to get skilled at drilling little holes in the wall to let some of the pressure out in a controlled way. But the risk of that is every time you tap a hole into the wall, it weakens the wall a bit, and you risk actually busting the whole thing and it still ending up in a flood. And what I realised in chatting with my wife this morning and then with you about it, Coxie, is that the people around us are really important when we're dealing with that, because they can actually help strengthen the wall while we're drilling little holes in it to let the pressure out.
Yes.
And they can sort of shore it up, put a bit of DevCon around the holes, or put some 1,000-mile-an-hour tape around it just to stop it cracking and letting everything overwhelm us, while still letting a bit of that pressure out and taking care of our well-being by reducing the amount of shit behind the wall so that it's not catastrophic. And we end up with, the literal breakdown where it just breaks down and it's too much for us and it just floods us.
It is a flood, and it is a flood of shit. It's pretty a mental image that does bring up. But likewise, I guess, conversely, surrounding yourself with toxic people who are hammering into your wall without you really understanding and chipping away at the foundations is probably the worst thing any of us can do at a time like this. It's great to have support. If you've got support, lean into the support. But my suggestion would be to step right out of that toxic shit. Whether that be social media. Social media is really hard at a time like this. It's negative. It's rarely positive. It's rarely looking at some of the proactive things that you can do. It's rarely looking at how to help yourself. It's most often shit fights about, people making bad choices or what other people feel your choice should be or must be, and not respecting one another's opinions. And it can be as simple as that, or it can be listening to the news. There's another example of toxic stuff in our lives. Great if we can get straightforward, hard facts, but generally it's coloured with fear and horrific language, to dip back into yesterday. Or what about those people in our community? So for some, unfortunately, it's family members. For others, it might be staff or business associates that we're dealing with. Who are those toxic people in our lives? Now's a great time not to be dealing with those people. Now's a great time to step aside from that toxic nature and lean into those people that can help shore up your dam wall before it does flood.
And striking that balance, isn't it? Because we, I think, inadvertently end up with people lobbing grenades at our wall and don't even realise it, that they're going off. We're so focused on trying to hold it up ourselves that, we allow people to weaken it, as you say, Coxie. So it is finding that balance. You can't remove all of the haters and the takers, and you've got to pay attention to it so that it doesn't undo your efforts to maintain your well-being. And then, just hanging out with some people who get it, hanging out in our community.
There's a segue.
For a shameless plug. And a shameless plug for the awesome trade business owners, many of whom are listening right now, and thank you for being part of our community, that are supporting your fellow tradespeople, your fellow business owners.
There have been some fantastic kick-ass conversations going on in our big group where people are just there for support. Like, sure, Victoria is really in this, and there are other parts of Australia that also are sort of in a restricted area. However, we've got bunches of people out there that are really backing you. They're there to help patch up your wall. They're there to help suggest or keep you focused or remind you, particularly the New Zealanders. Our cousins across the ditch have been amazing at offering some perspective within our group. This is what we found. This is what we went through. We really spiraled for a couple of days and then it started to get better. Remember, you've been there before. This will get better. You know, there's been some awesome conversations there. So if you're feeling a bit alone and you're feeling a bit lost and like there's too much toxic in your life, there's a great place in Facebook, believe it or not, social media, where you can find the support that you need. Because let's face it, we can't do it alone. We really can't. We all do need support at times. Well, really, all the time. We always need someone in our corner.
Yeah. And community is a big aspect that has been stripped away during COVID.
Yes.
And I would personally encourage you to become a part of a community, whether that's locally, physically located, tough when you're in restrictions, or the fabulous thing about online and social media is it can be a good force. It does have some positives about it. And Tradies in Business is obviously a fantastic community. The Facebook group, it's free, it's private, it's only trade business owners and their partners and supporters, really. So you can get in there and have a chat with people who get it, and they get you, and they all have their own damn wall. And you can all compare walls, and, you know, you can stick each other's cracks up, so to speak.
Oops.
So, get in there, but just, have a look around and just see if you've got people lobbing grenades at your wall and weakening it faster. And, you know, get some people that can help you release a bit of that pressure. And we'll talk more in future episodes about some simple little things you can do to actually let a bit of the shit out under a controlled flow without it overwhelming you.
I feel like we need to get a plumber on for that episode.
Yeah. Someone who's really good with shit.
Poor plumbers.
Oh, no. Who would do that job?
So, message for today is take care of your damn wall.
Oh, I love the play on words, Coxie.
You are welcome. There's my little gold nugget for today.
Speaking of nuggets, thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with another TradieRonaCast. We're stepping up the schedule. Keep running by for some quickies and a few more meaty ones. And we'll just keep you all focusing on your well-being and getting through this interesting time that we're in.
Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.